You are watching T Radio V, radio in TV.
Holding up your sign for the world to see.
Hello and welcome to the Street Angel Show here in the heart of Hollywood at T Radio V. So I have an announcement to make. Today is the 4-year anniversary of the Street Angel, like for when I first got my calling and went out on the street dressed like an angel in Los Angeles. So yay, that's why I'm having all feathery and I'm like, somebody's got to celebrate around here. It's got to be me. So anyway, I am Mandelyn Reese. I'm known as the Street Angel, LA Street Angel. I've been wearing angel wings and having posters front and back promoting kindness and positivity and other random messages. And I just, hope to get people reconnected and kind to each other and doing random acts of kindness. And so that is me. And so today I've devoted the show to helping others and spreading advice, wisdom, positivity. And so today's topic, we have the Whole Person magazine, the Gateway portal for spiritual growth and wellness. And then the second half of the show, we're going to be talking to Mark LaSure, and it's going to be about the Life Changes show and other things he's done. So my guest across from me to talk about the Gateway portal and the Whole Person magazine is owner, CEO, Tony Camacho. Yay. How are you?
Very well. I'd like to
Welcome.
take a moment and thank you. Thank you for doing the work you do. Congratulations on the 4 years. I think that's pretty magical, and I think you're a magical young lady.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Indeed.
I hope to be magical. I was going to wear some glitter today, but I forgot. So I just was wondering, do you want to wear some beads for the celebration?
The beads, of course.
And you didn't have to flash me.
No, I was just going to say, I hope I don't have to take off my shirt.
Well, no, I wouldn't make you do that. Well, that looks special. Okay.
There we go.
Got some color on you. So what came first, the Gateway portal or the magazine?
Okay, so the magazine has been around for close to 40 years.
40?
Yeah, I've not had it for 40 years, but that's how
Oh,
old it is.
that's right. You told
Yeah.
me this briefly.
The Gateway.
You
I-
basically inherited it, sort of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Gateway I started roughly about 9 years ago. So
Okay.
that's the history of the Gateway time.
Cool. And so what about the Gateway then? When did that come about?
No, I say it started 9 years ago.
9 years ago.
Yes.
Okay. I was making sure I got the timeline right. So what made you want to start it, just out of curiosity?
Well, it's a great question. People ask me that all the time. And my response to that question, it wasn't something that I consciously chose. It wasn't, I woke up one day and said, I'm going to create a Gateway, create a wellness center. It was very organic. And what I mean by that, I was going through a process personally. And I had been on a journey about learning about myself, exploring myself. And one of the things I got involved in as I was doing that is I got involved in going to the hypnotherapy college. And as I came, and that was just about me learning about my subconscious. And as I came out of the school, as I was finishing, there were a whole bunch of people that were looking to go out and open up a practice.
Mm-hmm.
And they said to me, Tony, where are you going to go practice? And I said, well, I'm not really doing this to create a practice. I'm really doing it to kind of understand who I am more. And then I said, but I do have an office. I actually have 6 offices. And maybe you would be interested in coming to my office. And suddenly I had a number of people that came to my office, and I immediately kind of had a wellness center.
Okay.
And then I went out and I got, an acupuncturist. I got a chiropractor. I got an energy healer. And there I was.
You just created a little network there.
Yeah, and it happened all very,
quickly.
yeah.
I think it was meant to be. And
Indeed.
I want to say I've had a lot of the guests that I've had on this talk show that I've met at the Gateway at various classes. So
very nice.
It's really an epic place where a lot of magical spiritual people congregate to give classes, workshops, teach, learn, and we all will go to each other's things and
Yeah.
just progressively learn and grow, and it really changes your life a lot, and I think for the better. It brings a lot of more positive aspects to life.
Oh, absolutely.
I would like to show the video clip to really kind of introduce the Gateway and the little shop they have to the
Okay.
audience. It's a YouTube video. It's about 2 minutes, so let's watch it.
Very nice.
when they gotta go.
Are we jointly going to?
Pretty cool stuff, huh?
Very cool stuff.
You know, I've spent so much money in that gift shop. I'm like, I always have to go in there, and I'm like, okay, what is my soul wanting this time?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I zero in on an item, and I'm like, I gotta have that. And so if you saw my apartment, you'd recognize some things.
It would be part of the gateway.
Yeah, it's like,
Right.
I have a pretty cool apartment set up with all sorts of spiritual
Yeah.
stuff around, and I think it has a good energy to it.
Oh, I'm sure it
And the
does.
store itself has cool energy in there. I mean, there's
Store
a
has
lot of
great energy.
it has a lot of crystals and rocks,
Yeah.
as you saw. You can get all different sizes and kinds, and I love that there's little descriptions, and
Right.
it's really cool.
So, you know, one of the cool things about the store, as you shared, is that energetically, it's like a fantastic energy. People come in, and they kind of recognize the energy, and they just want to hang out.
Yeah.
They just want to stay, and they come back, you know, and they tell their friends. And so the store is relatively new. The store is only about maybe coming up on 2 years.
Really?
Yeah, so it's fairly new, and so it's just been growing a little inch at a time, but it's very nice because everyone's incredibly pleased about their experience there.
Do some
And
people do readings in the store?
they do. Thank you for pointing that out. So
Okay.
we have a number of readers. They're there mid-afternoon and in the evening.
Okay.
We have, you know, tarot cards, we have angel cards, we have numerology, astrology.
Whatever you might be interested in.
Exactly right. It's there. Yeah, and some really incredible people doing the work. So we're
Cool.
really excited to have them and feel blessed to have them.
About how many practitioners do you have in and out of there right now?
Okay.
On a regular basis, kind of?
Yeah, that's another good question. So the Gateway store, as we saw, as the audience here saw the film, is downstairs, and then upstairs we have a bunch of suites where we have practitioners. So we have a medical intuitive, we have a chiropractic doctor, we have a reflexologist, we have a psychologist, we have a clinical hypnotherapist, we have a woman who does rebirthing, we have a massage therapist, and I'm sure I left somebody out.
What does the rebirthing mean?
Good question. Rebirthing is a process that started, I want to link it to sometime in the 60s perhaps, started by a gentleman by the name of Leonard Orr. And essentially, it was a process of inviting you to connect with that experience of when you came out of your mother's womb.
Wow.
Because the fundamental concept at some level is that it was an incredibly traumatic process.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, everything in a way went downhill. Because, you know, you then had parents, you then had issues, you then had discipline problems, et cetera,
Right.
et cetera, et cetera.
As you're learning. And
Yeah. So it's really quite powerful. And the woman who teaches it she and her husband, who came from South America, learned it 25 years ago. So they've been doing it a long time. Just she does it. Her husband does not. But she's quite remarkable. It's an interesting process. So for those of you who are listening and never experienced that, come down and experience it. It's really quite an amazing process.
Like, I have no idea like what that would be like. You know, what do you like put in the dark and then like whoosh?
Well,
Like-
that's a nice visual. So sometimes you're on the ground, and sometimes depending on who's doing it, sometimes they roll you up, like
wow.
in a blanket, so to speak.
Okay.
You know, and there's a lot of breathing exercises that you do that bring you to this place. Yeah, and you have this profound awakening experience. Yeah,
That
it's
might
very
have to
interesting.
be something I try.
Yes, please.
So, you know, he does have some other interesting beds, or so, I don't know
Yes.
how I would describe. There's an oxygen chamber.
Yes. So
What do you call it?
It's a hyperbaric oxygen chamber,
Okay.
which is quite remarkable. So the chamber is, I like to describe it this way, it's like taking a syringe and injecting oxygen, oxygenating every one of your 37 trillion cells.
Wow.
So it's like enlivening you. It's really kind of bringing you into a different space. It's like the whole lymphatic system is being altered and being changed, and it's energizing, and your immune system is like being ramped up.
Yeah.
So in a way, your body's having an opportunity to address all of its needs, whatever.
It'd be
is
kind of
going
at
on.
a heightened state of healing almost. Like
It is.
it kickstarts itself
Yes.
healing processes. So I got to be in this oxygen.
yes,
yeah,
indeed, you
I
had
bought
to
a
try it.
session.
Mhm.
I wanted to try it out I'm curious about things. I like
Yeah.
to try things. So I went in there, and it is interesting. It feels like you're in like a balloon of sorts. You kind of like, I don't know, how do you describe that? You know, blow up, like almost like a pool, blow up
Yeah,
thing.
correct.
And then, but it's all around you.
Yeah.
And
So it's a cylinder. It's like
yeah,
a tube.
there we go, cylinder.
Yeah, and it's fairly small when you get in, but then as the oxygen comes into it, it expands quite a bit.
Yeah.
So it feels more comfortable.
And they say you can feel flushed, red
Yeah, yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah, and you feel the sensation of your ears popping as the oxygen is being pumped in.
Yeah.
And then as you're coming back down, it's like coming down from a plane where your ears are popping.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So I ended up going to the gym after I was in this thing, and I swear I got like the best workout of my life.
Very nice.
Because I guess everything was so oxygenated. I was like, yeah, I was like, I have all
You're
this
Superwoman.
energy.
Yeah.
And I was like doing this furious workout and felt so good. And my
And
body was like super powered.
That's exciting, and I'm sure if you had looked in the mirror, you would have discovered that your angel wings have grown
Right?
completely.
I was
Yeah.
like glowing.
Much bigger, yeah.
So the other thing I just recently tried, as in like
Mm.
3 days ago, I think,
Mhm.
was something called the John of God light crystal bed.
Yes, correct.
And we have like kind of an image of that. So it's these crystals
Mhm.
that are hanging over you, and they're lit to each color of your,
Of your chakras.
corresponding chakras in your
Correct.
body. So you
Mhm.
got crown chakra, third eye, throat, heart, solar plexus above your navel,
Yeah.
sacral below the navel, and your root chakra down up in the
Exactly.
groin area. So they hover over you, and what are they doing exactly?
Well-
Recalibrating, is that a good?
That's a good word. So the way it works is the crystals that are in the bed that we saw, they come from Brazil. They come from the area where John of God is. So maybe we should clarify what that is.
Right.
So John of God is probably the most renowned healer on the planet.
Currently, right?
Yeah, he's
Living.
been doing it for close to 50 years.
Wow.
And thousands of people go down there virtually every day, and he sees 1,000 people a day.
Wow.
Quite amazing. And then he heals him, and he removes tumors, he removes cancer, he does all kinds of things. He does also a physical surgery if you're under 50. I mean, can you pull up your shirt, and we'll make an incision, and we'll reach in there and grab
Yeah.
what we grab. If you're older than the 50, you'll just do it psychically and do a healing that way.
I've seen a documentary about
Oh,
him,
yeah.
and it is very interesting that people have a very immense amount of faith going into it, that they're going to be worked on in a very deep way.
Right.
And the way John of God described it was these other level beings, psychic healers,
Yes.
use his body to do operations on these people, and they say it is legit. It works.
That's
it heals.
exactly what happened. So there is something, I think there are 33 different energies that come into his body. Some of them are doctors who have passed over that
Ascended
were.
masters and different
Yes,
things.
exactly.
Yeah.
So he can do all kinds of healing.
I actually got a John of God crystal ring. I don't know
Oh.
if you can see it. It looks
Yes.
like a gigantic engagement ring,
It
but I
does.
don't wear it on that finger. Some guy's got to give me that someday. But yeah, it's supposed to help you with self-love.
Okay.
And empowering that, and that's why I got it for myself as a
Mhm.
gift to myself.
Beautiful.
So I could really focus on that self-love and growth,
Right.
and be able to share that with the world, which I do a lot
You
of.
do indeed, and you do a beautiful job.
Right.
But to be clear with the John of God bit, it's the idea that the crystals that are hanging on that aperture, they actually are infused, I like to use the word impregnated, with the healing energies of John of God.
Cool.
And each of them is very different. If you're sensitive to energy, you can put your hand under them and you could feel the energy.
Yeah, I felt kind of similar to after the oxygen
Yeah.
bed. It was like an enlivening process.
Yeah.
I definitely felt different, like a higher
Oh, absolutely.
vibration of sorts.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard to put into words what you feel, what you experience, and I do the best I can to describe it, but it could be different for each soul. What
It
you
is.
experience. So
Yeah.
that's why it's like, if you're interested in these things, which is why I'm presenting it on this show, is go and seek it out for yourself. The Gateway is at Barrington and Olympic.
Barrington and Gateway.
Barrington and Gateway. Sorry, it's near
No,
Barrington and
it
Olympic.
is indeed.
Yeah. So they have all sorts. What kind of stuff? Weekly classes do you have every week?
So we have ongoing workshops, virtually 7 days a week. We have a big event space downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also have a small space upstairs where we do more intimate little workshops. And there are ongoing workshops, and what I mean by that is there are workshops that happen each and every week. And then there are workshops that maybe perhaps they're done once a month or twice a month. So it varies, and incredibly talented people that come and do. So we have the medical intuitive, Kimberly, who comes pretty much once a week on a Thursday. We have a pranic healing clinic that happens on Tuesdays. There's 4 or 5 pranic healers, and people come in and get a healing. There is a Course in Miracles class that happens every single Wednesday. That happens upstairs. There's Qigong classes that happen, I think, on Mondays. We're starting up, which we haven't had, Tai Chi classes. And then we have yoga classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then we have an event that's not held at the Gateway, but it's a lot of fun for those of you who like the outdoors, is we do a twilight hike on Fridays. Yeah.
Oh yeah, here we go. We have some pictures.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and is that the website, right?
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
So if you want to go to the website, it's going to show, their video clips, photos, the schedule and the practitioners.
Yeah, there's a calendar.
Yeah,
for
there's
all
all
the
sorts of
events
cool
that are
stuff
happening.
on their website. If
Right.
you have any questions, it's just going to have their location and hours of operation. I didn't know you were closed Mondays. Okay.
The stores close Mondays.
Oh, the stores.
Yeah,
Okay.
the upstairs offices are open.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there was something I was going to... Oh, how do people get on your newsletter? I highly recommend, if you're watching this show, get on the Gateway's newsletter if you live in Los Angeles, because there's always events being emailed out,
There
special
are.
events that
So-
are epic for your growth.
They indeed are. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
So they simply would email us and ask us to be put on the list, and we'd
Through
be
the
delighted.
website?
Yes, and we're happy to do that.
Is there a link that says contact or email or something?
I'm personally not very familiar. I mean, I don't go there too often. I'm too busy kind
Right.
of juggling plates.
Yeah, you are.
But yeah, they can just go onto the site and make
Okay.
the contact.
Okay. Is
yeah.
there an email you can verbally say?
There is, thegatewayportal@gmail.com.
Perfect.
Thegatewayportal@gmail.com.
So people can contact you there and say, can I be on your newsletter?
Exactly.
Okay, good. thegatewayportal@gmail.com.
gmail.com.
Perfect. That's nice and easy. Okay, let's talk about the magazine for a little bit.
Okay.
We brought a few copies with us.
Yeah.
The Whole
so,
Person magazine.
Yes.
So it's got all sorts of cool ads and articles, and the ads, are typically spiritual type things.
Indeed.
And products and services and healers and all sorts of cool stuff. And the articles are fascinating. You never really know what you're going to see in there, but it really will open your mind.
It will. And the funnest part, if there's such a word as funnest, for me personally, putting the magazine together is having the opportunity to come in contact with some remarkable people, some incredibly gifted, talented people
Yeah.
who are on the front pages of the magazine.
You know, I really wanted to contribute an article or something.
Oh, please
it's
do
on
that.
my to-do list.
Yeah.
I just keep forgetting.
So the magazine has a cover story of the person that we're showcasing for the month.
Okay.
It has a calendar, a list of events that are happening throughout Southern California. And so when I say Southern California, I'm speaking all the way from Santa Barbara down to Laguna Hills.
Oh, wow.
So it covers a wide area. Magazine gets distributed close to 700 locations.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then it has a whole bunch of interesting articles that are quite interesting, fascinating.
And it's a free magazine?
It's a free magazine, and the thing I really want to point out, the magazine's intent and its purpose is really about inviting and creating greater consciousness. You know, it's
Right.
about creating greater awareness. It's what you do and what I do, and that's the mission of the magazine. It's here to be a bridge, really, between people and projects and products and
Well,
so
that's why I
forth.
wanted to have you on the show,
There we
because I've
go.
devoted the show to helping others and spreading wisdom. And it's like, well, we got to have the whole
Yes.
person and Gateway like talked about. I've actually promoted the Gateway many times on previous shows.
Oh, very nice.
But at least it's cool to have you
Yes.
here in
Well,
person.
I feel honored to be here. And I want to say one more thing about the magazine. As I shared earlier, the magazine's close to 40 years old. It's in print, and we are, in the next month, we're shifting from the printed magazine to strictly an online magazine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and
Okay.
so we're excited about that because we're looking to do something a little different. And what that is we're looking to bring in material, to bring in articles, to bring in stories, not just from Southern California, but from across the U.S., but not just the U.S. We're looking to bring in stories that come from China, that come
The
from
world.
Peru. Yes, from the world. Because what we want to do is we want to make the magazine. We'd like to have we'd like to get our thumb on the pulse rate of what's happening in the spiritual world across the world. And so we're very excited to do that. We're in the midst of creating connections with different people all over the planet.
Cool.
So that's coming up very soon.
Yeah. So, yeah, currently the print is bi-monthly.
Yes, correct.
But it's soon going to be all online, which is
Yes.
great because people who watch the show who obviously aren't in LA or Southern California can now
They'll have
access
access to
this
it.
online.
Yeah,
Perfect.
exactly.
And I got to say, my favorite part of the magazine is the horoscope section.
Oh.
Like, they're always so accurate. It kind of blows my mind. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, how
Well,
does this
I have to pay a tribute to him. So it's Dr. Ron Holman.
Uh-huh.
Swaha Ron. You
Oh, he just added me on Facebook.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay,
So-
so I didn't
yeah,
realize.
he's the one who does that, and he does it, pretty geniusly.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, now I gotta go message him and be like, hey, now I know. Like,
Right.
well, that's cool. Yeah, I really love the horoscopes, and they called it astrology psychology.
Yes.
That's a cool word for it. Okay, well, any last things you want to mention?
Well, I just want to say, if you've not been to the Gateway, please come and visit. We would certainly appreciate your presence. And I say we'd appreciate your presence because we recognize that the events that are happening there, the information that's being disseminated, is really about helping you grow. It's really about stretching you. And I say this to everybody, and I may say this in a selfish way, kind of recognizing that the more you grow, it's kind of like the more I grow.
Right.
So come and let's grow together.
Yay.
Yeah,
Well,
yay.
thanks for being here. And
Absolutely.
yeah, I know you're a busy guy, so awesome. Okay, well, stay with us because we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be back to talk about the Life Changes talk show with Mark LaShore. So stay here, and thank you for watching the Street Angels Show. Be right back.
For the world to see. If you're broken and you cannot find a way.
You are watching T Radio V, radio in TV.
LA Street Angel.
Hi, this is Mandelyn Reese, the LA Street Angel, and I have my talk show here in the middle of Hollywood. So come hang out with me, learn some awesome new cool spiritual stuff. And it's every Thursday, 1 o'clock Pacific time, TRadioV.com.
LA Street Angel. Call to heal these streets. Street Angel. Giving everything. Holding up your sign for the world to see.
welcome back to the Street Angel Show here in the heart of Hollywood. I'm Mandelyn Reese. I'm known as the Street Angel or LA Street Angel, and I wear my angel wings with my posters front and back about be kind, be nice, be positive, and this is one of my other ones, people over profits, because it's so important for people to realize that nowadays. So I've devoted the show to helping others, and today's topic was about the Gateway and the Whole Person magazine, and now we're going to be talking to Mark Leisure.
Yeah, good job.
I'm trying to pronounce it right.
Perfect.
With the Life Changes show, and I'm going to be asking him all sorts of cool questions about that and what he does. And so, hi, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me. This is exciting.
Yes, it is exciting because today is the 4-year anniversary of me being the Street Angel.
That's amazing.
So
you really are amazing. You do
thanks.
such great work, and you're so committed. And I love that you're always outside of the box and bringing the color and the smiles. And
Well, thank you.
That's awesome.
Well, yeah, I love like feathery stuff, and I also love rainbow stuff. So this is kind of like the best of both worlds.
get to do it all.
Yeah. And I wanted to just really quick say my new website has been overhauled and it looks awesome. thestreetangel.com. It's really cool. What's wrong? What happened? Okay. So anyways, oh, but I liked it. That's fine. That's fine. So Mark,
Yes.
we're back on you. I have a bunch of questions.
Great.
Whoa!
I
Now
have
I
answers.
can hear suddenly. What just happened? Oh, this thing isn't working. Sorry, Mark.
That's all right.
Okay, so tell us, what is the Life Changes show?
The Life Changes Show, lifechangeshow.com. We've been on the air for 8 years now. It was started originally by Filippo Voltaggio and Dorothy Donahue and myself. And Filippo had come up with a concept for what he was calling Life Changes with Filippo. And we were on the air for a number of years, basically sharing our journey together and learning as we go. And I think a very different person than is sitting in front of you started that show with them. And over the years, we evolved it, ended up in studio, evolved it to the Life Changes show as it is now. We've done live events. We have a number of curriculums that we'll talk about. But it's a talk show that brings a little bit of a mainstream feel to a similar conversation that you're having with your listeners and viewers.
And yours is primarily radio-based?
We are radio on the BBS radio network and then via the Life Changes show, and then we do live events as well. And we will have a very exciting live event coming to Hollywood very soon.
What is that?
Can't tell,
Oh,
can't talk
secret?
about it quite yet.
Okay,
Yeah.
you'll have to follow
Yeah.
the Life Changes show,
Yeah,
huh?
you're going to want to stay in tune with Life Changes Show or on Facebook, Life Changes Show, and we're on Twitter at the Life Changes Show as well.
Cool. Okay, so I don't know if we showed their website, but what's the website if you want to just say it?
LifeChangesShow.com or Life Changes Network. We started out as Life Changes Network. The show also directs to that same page, and we have some other neat things going on. When you go to that site, you'll find a variety of information. Not only our show is archived there, which we've now done 384 episodes. There is a workshop called Life Improvement that we teach, and the recent show that we did was at the Hollywood Improv. That was fun, but it's using comedy improv as a transformational tool. And then we've also been teaching the recalibration, which is a workshop, an intensive workshop that is guiding people within to really get back to who they are. We grow up, as kids, and we have dreams and aspirations, and we think we're one thing, and then society says, no, you're not this, or you're not that, or not pretty enough, or not tall enough, or whatever the story is.
Right.
And we go off track.
You kind of
And
learn as you go.
You learn as you go, and not many stay on path with who they truly are. And oftentimes we're finding that people have become so distant from who they really are that it takes a bit of time to look inward and look back at where you've been and what the patterns were and where the times were that you were happy and potentially why you're not happy and all of those things. And when you add it up, you you get to that aha of, oh, wait a minute, I'm really this when I've been acting like that.
Yeah, and I have a random story like that. Is when I was really, elementary age, I loved rainbow stuff. And I wasn't gay, but I loved rainbow stuff. But everybody was like, oh, you can't wear that unless you're gay. And I was like, so I was kind of sad about that. I was like, well, I guess I can't ever wear rainbow stuff. But then over time, I got to the point where I really didn't care, like, what other people were thinking of me, if they suspected I was gay, bi, whatever. It doesn't matter. In fact, I'm very, like, open-minded and liberal about that, and I've promoted equal rights very thoroughly. But it's like, now I'm just like, you know what, if I want to wear rainbow stuff or rainbow feathers, I'm going to do it, you know?
You know, I was thinking that when I walked in and when I was watching the interview with the Gateway, how you are outside the box, but that's the way it should be. You know, I know that we're common friends with a lot of people from Burning Man and some of the festival communities, and of course that's a lot of that culture, is to truly empower people to just be.
Be yourself. Or
whatever you want to wear, however you
extravagant.
want to be, you know,
Yeah.
you should be allowed to do that.
A lot of people have to put on suits and tie and uncomfortable stuff to go to work, or uniforms, and it's like,
Well,
when
even
you're-
a suit's a uniform. I
Yeah.
did it for 12 years. You know,
Yeah.
I worked on and around Wall Street for a long time and did the suit and the braces and
Mhm.
the, you know, the fancy shoes, and you know, it's conformist. You know, it's still a uniform, and it really draws out the individuality. And I started realizing this and waking up to this long before I went through my changes, which we can talk a little bit about. But I would go to people's houses that I worked with that wore suits every day, and then I would see this whole other side of them, that maybe they were a brilliant artist, or they had really cool style, you know, in clothing, or just their you know, their loft or wherever they lived was super cool. And there was this whole other aspect that you don't see because they had kind of put all that away to jump in their suit and be in the box that
Yeah.
was their office.
Well, something like, I pride myself a little bit on being like a chameleon. Like, I can literally shift my outfits and the way I look and present myself to fit into any event that I go to or get invited to as the angel. Like, I can, and that's the one thing that people recognize are the wings and the posters, but I can shift my outfits and persona to match, like, okay, I'm at a hippie-ish spiritual, you know,
Yeah.
group,
Yeah.
or I'm at a business setting, I need to wear a suit for this. Like, I was at City Hall, you know, addressing councilmen last week, so it's like I had to wear something very professional. So it's like I do that on purpose, because these messages need to get to everywhere, all of humanity.
Absolutely.
But back to you, I wanted to ask, when does the show air exactly?
So we're Monday nights live from 7 to 8 p.m.
Okay.
That's broadcast, and then about a week later, the show drops into an archive and the iTunes podcasts. And
Okay.
yeah,
I need to
it's
figure out how to
accessible.
put my show on iTunes.
Absolutely.
I've
you
not
need to do that.
figured that out yet,
Yeah.
but everyone thinks I have a radio show, and I'm like, well, actually, it's not on radio yet. It's like a live streaming talk show, and I keep trying to correct people, but I guess.
Well, we're going down the same path from different directions.
Yeah,
right?
maybe we can help each other
Right.
cross connect.
Yeah.
Maybe you could be up here in this studio. It's
Yeah,
pretty
this
cool.
is a great studio.
You know, it's
Give
nice.
them a shout out.
So who have been a few of your top awesome guests in the last 8 years?
Wow, we've had such a variety of guests, and I think that's the great thing about the show. It's, you know, we have a conversation that aims to where all people live. You know, so one thing we all have in common is life changes. And we've had, you know, interviewed celebrities like Adam Carolla and Sharon Stone, and had award-winning directors like David Valdez, who produced The Green Mile, and I think that was Oscar nominated, and Marilyn Hemingway, and then we've had some of the conspiracy people like Giorgio Tsoukalos. I know a lot of people know the Ancient Alien Show, and David Wilcock, and we've had some amazing authors, spiritual leaders. It's been a really amazing, interesting experience, and just normal people that have amazing stories, and you know, I think all of them are normal people, but in terms of what is defined as celebrity or
Right.
influencers out there.
How much they've done, maybe,
Yeah,
or how well known they are, or
Right,
something.
and oftentimes the stories are almost more amazing. In fact, I was thinking one, Spencer West is a We Day speaker that we did a show on, or a show with, and he lost his legs when he was 5 and climbed Mount Kilimanjaro and walked across Canada on his hands.
Wow, that's
and
incredible.
There's, you know, people like that every day that have such
Oh,
a
is that him?
fantastic. Yeah, there he is. Yeah.
How did he lose his legs? What happened?
He was born that way, and it was something that he immediately aspired to overcome.
That is such a cool
as
story.
he grew, yeah.
I wanted to say, this is kind of random, but I was really impressed with the bio you sent me. Like,
Thank
it
you.
was very well worded. I was really impressed with your background and everything that you've done and accomplished. And guess what? We both have psych degrees.
Yeah, I noticed that. It's great.
You did? How did you find out?
I can't remember. I read some of your background, and I came
my
across
blog or
your psych. I
something?
think it was your blog. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I forgot I put it in
Yeah,
there.
yeah, it's there.
Yeah, but
And thank you. It's been an evolving bio because I'm evolving.
I could tell.
And that's what Life Changes is about.
yeah.
You know,
Maturing, growing.
it's been a series of life changes. You talked about being a chameleon, and my whole life is kind of that way. I grew up, middle class, Cleveland, Ohio, singing, acting, put that down because of bullying and other stories, and ended up in Florida after my dad retired, and went out for football, and that was a whole different experience, and ended up, I was actually training I thought I was going to chase serial killers, which was my criminology / psychology.
That's like why I started kind of. I was going to do criminal justice, but then I switched to
That's funny.
psychology because I didn't want to be a cop or.
Well, I didn't have the thing. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to be at the time.
Right.
And I was chameleon-like. I liked so many different things, and I
Mhm.
felt so comfortable in so many different areas of life. I did a year and a half with the sheriff's office, didn't want to be on the beat, but thought I was going into the FBI. And when they put a hiring freeze out, I went and got my Series 7 and started on Wall Street, and became this whole other thing that I really wasn't aware of what it was, but I figured, I'll learn how to manage money, and
Yeah.
and had huge success, knocked it out of the park, both as a broker and then ultimately as part of the founding table of a company called Inc2Me, which was one of the big internet companies. We went from 0 to 25 billion to a lot less when it was sold to Yahoo, and that was the beginning of a roller coaster that I rode for the next 15 years of ups and downs and arounds and lots of learning.
Yeah. Yeah, I could tell, like, you've been through a lot. In fact, I wanted to share a quote I took from your bio or website or somewhere. I think it was your bio.
Sure.
It's in the setbacks and challenges that the magic of truth and healing is revealed. That in elevating beyond the setbacks, it's where wholeness and authenticity are ultimately realized and major transformation occurs. I thought that was really beautiful.
Thank you for pointing that out, and it's the truth. It's been an interesting time, especially as Life Changes show is really growing right now, and a lot more people have been kind of signing on to our movement, like you and like your movement, and us starting to collaborate, right? Which is what it's all about. The whole idea of looking back is very interesting, because I think the things that I was perceived to be successful at, I don't hold any value in anymore. So it's
Well,
an
it changes,
interesting,
over time. Your jobs, your life, everything's always changing, and you just kind of have to learn to go with it.
Exactly.
And evolve with it. Like,
Exactly.
literally evolution. Your soul, your life, everyone around you, your family, your relationships, constantly evolving.
Well, and society rewards you for the oddest things because of the materialism, the capitalism, that suddenly you're off track. And I became this thing that was very distant from who I was because of the success, the perceived success that I had. And at one time I had the illusion of unlimited money and could fly anywhere and had the toys, and I look back and I was a generally okay guy, but there were certainly all sorts of things that I would do better, and I certainly wasn't living a life of purpose or service with it. I was empire building. And now you look at how many of us are out there that could shift even slightly, and there's a massive amount of wealth that could be redisplayed. And I got to a point to where I couldn't walk over homeless people and not pay attention, and so much of the world does. And I couldn't leave the farmer's market and look at all of that abundance and then walk over a homeless person that's hungry and figure out why aren't the two connecting?
That's the whole issue I was at City Hall for, was like the homeless problem. But we gotta somehow work together to solve it.
Yeah.
It just seems like such a big issue, and I almost feel like people aren't even sure how to solve it because it's gotten so bad, but it's getting everybody's attention.
It's their attention, and it's applying new rules. They're not sure how to solve it because there's old financial metrics. And now if you apply new rules, then we should be able to redistribute wealth, but it takes a massive number of people to make a change. And
Right.
it takes shows like yours and people like you and what we're doing with Life Changes to make that happen.
Well, something has to happen to wake up the people with the rich people because they're choosing to hoard it, and that's a whole nother story. But I wanted to ask, how many followers does your show have, roughly?
We have about 25,000 in our mailing list.
Wow.
Around that in our social media communities, and BBS Radio Network is one of the oldest online radio networks, one of the biggest according to Alexa, and we're in their top 1%. So that fluctuates, but we're probably between 25 and 50,000
Nice.
listeners, and then it goes into the archive, and that continues to.
And these are people that listen live on Monday night?
So live on Mondays across the
Wow.
four shows a month, and we've been changing each other's lives, and each week there's magic. We like to leave room for I'd like to say the universe is one of the producers.
Yeah.
Every week there's some sort of synchronicity, much like today's show. You're talking about the Gateway, and our show number 95 we did live from the Gateway. So there's a little
I
bit of
love that.
synchronicity.
Yeah, and I recognize some of your guests, as well. So, I mean, it always seems to be that way with my show, the synchronicity, the commonalities of the guests. Like, even if they don't know each other, like, maybe the way that we all met, or,
Sure.
there's something, a connection,
It's
or...
gotta
you know,
work.
It's trippy.
Yeah.
But what kind of healing certificates do you have?
You know,
personally?
when the stuff hit the fan, per se, I went back to my psychology roots and grew from there. I've always wanted to know what makes people tick. It's what I'm about, and it's why I started down that path. And that led me also, as I started dealing with the changes that were going on, losing massive wealth, dealing with relationship changes, dealing with my own, demons and shadows, and wrestling with that. And I started going after learning different healing modalities like Reiki and reconnective healing, and what is taught by Dorothy Donahue, our partner, which kind of supersedes all that, or is to really own your own energetic alchemy, and that's what she calls it, energetic alchemy. But the ability to move light and to really trust in your own innate ability to heal yourself and others. And outside of that, I started studying other areas like NLP and hypnotherapy and timeline therapy.
NLP?
Neuro-linguistic programming, which
Oh.
I think is a little bit more popular right now, especially because Tony Robbins is a big fan and uses it a lot. And I know he's got a movie out there. But there's a lot of experts that have used derivatives of it. It is used highly and confidently in marketing. And it's the way the brain is programmed. It's how our language is used, and it's how things are perceived. One of the biggest lessons I had, which started changing the way I viewed and listened to content, was realizing that the brain can't process a negative. And if I tell you not to think about something, you're going to think about that thing in order to think about what you're not supposed to think about. And yet most of our language is negative. And we reference from a negative place, or don't do this or don't do that, but the brain is reaffirming the very thing that you don't want done. And so it's been a personal life path challenge for me to kind of overcome, that type of thinking, and to be able to share it with others, as I do with Filippo, who's an amazing coach, and he's the kind of the brains behind the recalibration and the life improvement workshops, and he's a master healer and has really done some amazing things with our show and our
Cool.
guests.
There's a quote on my bathroom wall by Deepak Chopra. It says something about freedom is gained when you realize that your perspective of reality and the way you react to it is completely different from someone else's, the way they view reality and react to it. I mean, everyone is a unique being, and everything is viewed differently. I mean, it's just fascinating when you really open your mind to thinking about it. And
I call it the SOS, our self-operating system.
self-operating system?
Because where you grew up and where somebody else on the other side of the world grew up, being two totally different areas with different cultures and different religions and different inputs, those are all lines of code as you're growing up. And so just like one is Mac and one's Windows, they run different software. And some are going to be a little bit closer to others are going to be completely different.
Right.
But when we start to understand that it's programming, and that we come in as this empty vessel and ultimately are programmed by our experiences, then you kind of take the me out of it. You start to have a little bit more compassion for where somebody came from and maybe how they got to be the way they are.
Right. Yeah, you never know what someone's been through, so
Right.
have compassion.
Sure.
How can people reach you? You have an email?
Email is easy. It's mark@lifechangeshow.com. And you can follow us at lifechangeshow.com. And I am at Facebook, I am Mark Lejeune, and
Mark with a K.
Mark with a K.
There are Marks with a C out there.
And Lejeune is Laisure, like leisure, but with an A.
Leisure. Cool. All right. Just FYI, everybody, I'm not going to be having a show next week. I got something I got to do. So, yeah, be back in 2 weeks from now, and got 2 more shows left in this season. I want to say thank you, Mark, for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And I'm excited to work with you on
Yeah,
something.
let's do more,
I feel
for
like
sure.
a collaboration brewing here.
Absolutely.
But I want to thank my audience for tuning in and watching. And make a call to action is figure out something to open your mind. Go get a hold of the Whole Person magazine, or go do something that will open your mind. And thanks for watching. Love you very much, and see you in 2 weeks. Bye.
If you're broken and you cannot find the way, if you're hungry and you need a place to stay, look into the eyes of the angel on the
You are watching T Radio V, Radio and TV.